They're the moments that had adults glued to their screens and children asking their parents a few very important questions. Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 most controversial things on 1980s TV.
I don't believe in making people uncomfortable, but I also don't believe in lying.
For this list, we're ranking those infamous moments on TV in the 1980s that led to some intense water cooler conversations. Talk shows, movies, and very special sitcom episodes will all be considered for this list. So get ready to travel back to a decade that may have been totally awesome, but also encountered its fair share of controversy.
Okay, fellas, here we go, huh?
Number 10, the Moldavian Massacre, Dynasty.
Get him out of here. Nothing can stop us tomorrow.
Audiences came to expect outrageous twists on the popular primetime soap opera Dynasty. But how would they react to a bit of real-world conflict mixed in with all the cheesy drama?
What are you after? I shall put it in one word, Mr. Dexter. Destiny.
Well, on May 15th, 1985, that's exactly what they got in the 5th season finale. That episode ended in a cliffhanger, as terrorists interrupted a wedding taking place in the Moldavian region of Europe. The lives of nearly the entire cast of characters were in jeopardy, as bullets rained down upon everyone in attendance. Everything did work out come season 6, however, as it was revealed that only 2 supporting characters actually suffered fatal wounds.
I'm gonna die, Stephen.
I don't want to hear that, you understand?
Number 9, Andrew Dice Clay, the 1989 MTV Video Music Awards.
Come a long way to make you smile. I'm gonna do it different, gonna do it Dice style.
Stand-up comedy enjoyed a lucrative and successful boom in the 1980s, thanks in part to the rise of comedy nightclubs and cable television specials raising the profile of up-and-coming comics. One such performer was Andrew Silverstein, also known as Andrew Dice Clay, who made a career out of his abrasive and off-color bad boy character, modeled largely after Jerry Lewis's Buddy Love character from The Nutty Professor. Not everyone took to Clay's offensive and often sexist material, however, with one particularly raunchy performance at the 1989 MTV Video Music Awards earning him a lifetime ban from the network.
Rockabye baby on the treetop. Your mother's a whore, I ain't your pop.
This ban was eventually repealed in 2011.
I like to know I'm banging a chick, and you know a chick is good to bang when she's bigger than the bed you're on.
Number 8, Geraldo Rivera punched in the nose. Geraldo.
The Holocaust, did it happen, Bob Hike?
Does it matter? How many?
Does it matter?
Tabloid talk shows were a dime a dozen in the 1980s, but the genre was starting to change due in large part to former ABC reporter Geraldo Rivera, who entered the ring with his own show in 1987. Geraldo often invited guests onto his show like Satanists or members of the KKK, strictly to stir up controversy.
You gotta be kidding. You gotta be kidding. You gotta be kidding. Hey.
One particularly memorable episode on November 3rd, 1988, saw a brawl break out between Roy Innis of the Congress of Racial Equality and John Metzger, director of the White Aryan Resistance Youth.
Hold it. Sit down.
The host received a chair shot to the face and a broken nose during the melee, but refused to press charges. After the incident, the show's ratings skyrocketed. Number 7, It Was All a Dream, Dallas. What does a writer do when one of their most popular characters is killed off at the end of one season, but is hired to come back a year later? Simple, make the entire previous season a dream.
No, it's true. He died because of me. He was trying to save me.
If that sounds too incredible to be true, then you haven't watched the 9th season of Dallas, which fans refer to as the Dream Season.
I like the way that sounds.
Yes, turns out Bobby Ewing's death and the events of the entire 9th season were all dreamed up by Bobby's wife, Pamela. And how did Pamela and viewers find this out? She discovers her thought-to-be deceased husband, Bobby, in the shower, washing up as if nothing had ever happened.
Good morning.
Number 6, the counselor, Mr. Belvedere.
You know, Wes, I think you enjoy doing anything as long as you're not supposed to be doing it.
Sure, doesn't everybody?
The late 80s sitcom known as Mr. Belvedere was one of the few primetime comedy programs based on a novel. In this case, the Gwen Davenport-penned Belvedere from 1947.
I think I'm gonna be in Miss Pritchard's group from now on.
The show wasn't afraid to tackle social issues, as evidenced by a couple of controversial episodes from the series' 5-year run, including one entitled Wesley's Friend, which deals with misinformation about the AIDS virus.
I heard you can get it just by playing tag or swinging on the same swings.
Even more controversial was the episode called The Counselor, which deals with the fallout after a counselor attempts to sexually molest the Owens family's youngest son, Wesley, while he's at summer camp.
Whoa, getting goosebumps.
The Counselor ends with a PSA, telling children what to do if they ever find themselves in an uncomfortable situation.
If you have to keep a secret that makes you feel bad, it's not worth keeping.
Number 5. Trash TV, The Morton Downey Jr. Show.
Let me tell you, Hitler and Mussolini were probably nice people. The only thing they did wrong was kill people.
We mentioned earlier how the 1980s ushered in a new decade of daytime talk shows that weren't afraid of pushing the envelope when it came to sensational content. The Morton Downey Jr. Show might be the most unapologetically abrasive of them all, thanks to its host and his hyper-confrontational style.
No, saints did something to prove they were saints, Sonny.
I prayed for years and years.
That's good. That's good.
Morton Downey Jr. yelled, finger-pointed, and chain-smoked on his show, and thought nothing of blowing smoke into the faces of his guests at a moment's notice. This chaotic carnival atmosphere made Downey very successful in the ratings department, however, as his talk show enjoyed success and infamous notoriety during its 2-year run.
Tell you what, everyone who agrees with the judge, turn off your television set now for the next 15 minutes.
Number 4. Nuclear War, The Day After.
Unless you're seriously injured, could you please go to one of the other campus buildings?
The 1970s and 80s were a fruitful time for made-for-TV movies, with many television films of the era enjoying classic status even today.
It's only been 5 days, and I can't remember what Bruce looks like.
One of these was The Day After, which received a record 100 million viewers for its debut on November 20th, 1983. The film looked at the possibility of a full-scale nuclear war between the United States and the Soviet Union with startling realism.
I got you, son. It's all right. I got you.
According to some sources, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood's controversial conflict episodes were produced in direct response to the film, explaining issues of violence and the possibility of nuclear war to children who might have caught the film with their parents.
So please get a grown-up that you love to watch this program with you, because we're going to talk about some sad and scary things.
Whether or not that's true, this film put people on edge.
It's going through you like an X-ray, right into your cells. What do you think killed all these animals?
Number 3. Madonna's Like a Virgin Live, the 1984 MTV Video Music Awards.
Like a virgin, hey!
The idea of an award show for the then fledgling cable channel known as MTV was a gamble at the time, but music television's roll of the dice proved lucrative. Credit the performance of a similarly fresh-faced artist known as Madonna, who made TV history right out of the gate. Parents and older viewers lost their minds as the singer rolled around on the floor during her rendition of Like a Virgin, while kids soon began mimicking the Material Girl's classically outlandish fashion sense. The spectacle would cement both MTV and Madonna as two of the most influential forces in popular culture, and no one would forget the performance even decades later. Number 2. The Bicycle Man, Different Strokes.
We urge families, children and parents to watch this special episode together because some of the material presented might be disturbing to younger children.
Sitcoms of the 1980s loved to include a number of very special episodes during their runs. Different Strokes was no stranger to this trend, and handled difficult issues with a surprising amount of drama, tension, and poignancy.
Did Mr. Horton give you anything, Dudley?
A pill. He said it'd make me feel good.
The Hitchhiker episode focused on the kidnapping of Arnold and Kimberly Drummond, for example, and The Bicycle Man took on child molestation.
Look, I'm only 11 years old. Should I be hearing all of this?
In this two-part episode, Arnold and his friend Dudley are lured to the apartment of their local cycle store owner and are convinced to let him take shirtless Polaroids of them.
That's a lot of fun, isn't it, Dudley?
Yeah.
Fortunately, they eventually alert adults to what's going on. Creepy and powerful, The Bicycle Man remains an infamous 80s television moment to this day.
This is an X-rated cartoon. It's dirty. Yeah, I know.
Before we reveal our most controversial moment on 80s television, here are a few shocking honorable mentions.
I know someone else like that.
Number 1. Goodbye, Farewell, and Amen. m.a.s.h.
If you don't mind, I'd like to exchange my straitjacket for something in a 39 Norm.
One episode of 80s television can claim to be the most watched television broadcast in American history, a record it held from 1983 until 2010. That episode is the series finale of m.a.s.h., a 2.5-hour send-off for the beloved dramedy entitled Goodbye, Farewell, and Amen. But the episode proved notable for another reason as well. Controversially, it tackled series lead Hawkeye Pierce's battles with PTSD as he prepares to return home from the Korean War.
Dear Dad, for the first time I understand what a nervous disorder is because it seems I've got one.
The episode pulls no punches, depicting Hawkeye's struggle with the demons in his mind, with actor and director Alan Alda performing tremendously in the role. Simply stated, Goodbye, Farewell, and Amen is classic television storytelling at its best and most challenging.
There it is. That's the sound of peace.
Do you agree with our list? Which 80s TV moment do you feel was the most controversial?
Here, let me give you a hand.
For more time-traveling top 10s published every day, be sure to subscribe to WatchMojo.com.
Some hugs and kisses are still okay.